So ladies and gentlemen, now that we have edited our text inside of our video, we got the boring stuff out of the way, it's time to create the rest of our high quality edit. And it's all going to start with editing a high quality hook. If we've got text animations, how should we put them together to create a high quality hook? If we take a look at our Figma file, the way that we broke down our hook animation is we've got a sans style text up top, which is going to be our basic text. And then we have a money number, and then we've got sans text under it, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing here. For the hook, we're going to do a here's how to make in sans. We're going to do $2,000 per month in our special style text. Then we're going to go as a video editor in sans as well. And then finally, we're going to add some post-production stuff and a cool shape layer to show you guys how high quality a hook animation can look. Let's go ahead and break it down. Obviously, real quick, I'm going to turn off Premiere because we don't need it and we don't need it sucking up the RAM in the background. And let's go ahead
Here's
and
how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor, even if you think you know how to do it.
The first thing is the negative, not the negative, the big word is going to be $2,000 a month, okay? So real quick, I'm going to bring over my text over here, and this is how I would do it for a client. If I've got text, I'm going to bring my text over to my hook, since that's what we're going to be using, and we're going to just put it here, okay? Now I'm going to put this for the entire hook, just so I can understand what's happening.
Here's how to make $2,000 per...
Okay, so the first words are going to be here's how to make, right? And for the apostrophe here, we're going to use the Monster.thin. And we might even select like all of them and just like bring them a little bit closer together. Here it is. Yeah, that you guys can see that looks way nicer.
Here's how to make $2,000. Here's how to make $2,000.
And then here we've got
$2,000
per month. So we're going to bring in that number. Now, obviously, this font is not going to allow us to have either of those. So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and use like an SFUI display, something like semi-bold. Semi-bold needs something heavier. Medium. No. Black. Black is pretty useful for this. Let's see if full caps it looks better. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it in full caps. And what we're going to do is we can either go like smaller like that, or we can go bigger. Now, I'm a huge fan of going bigger since we're going to have small text up top and bigger text in the middle. It's going to look way better. And honestly, guys, I'm not a fan of this color palette. I'd much rather be using yellow. But I mean, I guess we got to roll with it because this is what, these are the colors that we ended up going with either way. So yeah, sure. Let's roll with the orange color palette. Maybe if we made the bottom a little darker. Yeah, at least this looks more interesting. Great. Let's just make the orange color more intense. That's going to look better.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month.
Yep, I'm going to move this a little earlier.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month
as a video editor. And we're going to duplicate our sans font over here that we made earlier. And we're going to put it down under our $2,000 per month. Again, make sure it's under the layer so the glow actually affects it. And we're going to write out as a, oops, my bad. A video editor, just like that, and that's going to be really nice. Now we just need to make sure that the positioning here is not too far into the number, so we actually like can see and read the words.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor.
Another cool effect that you could do is you can actually space these out to where like they take up the whole thing, which would look pretty cool, but I'm a huge fan of the simplicity of this.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor.
I'm not a fan that the dash here interacts with the make. Again, guys, the little details are what matter. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drop this down to where it's just right in the middle in between both of those. And that's what we're going to do.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor.
Even if you think you know how to do it.
Okay, and then when we say even if you think you know how to do it, we're just going to cut this right here.
As a video editor.
Okay, we're going to cut this right here, and then that's it.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor, even if you think you know how to do it.
Look, there we go. Awesome. Now that's it for the beginning of our hook animation. And that's how the majority of these are made, by the way. So if you actually analyze all of these hook animations, they're made the exact same way, right? Sans font script, sans font special text, sans font special text, sans font special text. Even if you look at the sizing of everything, it's still the exact same as pretty much all of these. The only difference between these is that these use brighter colors and we're using a more dull color. Like if we were to delete this gradient ramp and we were to go with something like a light orange, for example, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that would look pretty much cooler. I think the downside is the background that we're using here. It's kind of forcing us to go with an orange because we don't really have much of an option, but it's perfectly okay. I'm just gonna drop the deep glow a bit more. So it's a bit simpler.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor.
All right, awesome. Now, final thing I would test is also try this as a script font. Actually looks pretty cool. Let's leave it as a regular font. Here we go.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video.
Now, you might be wondering, what kind of post-production and cool stuff do we have in mind for you guys? What kind of post-production are we going to show you? Well, the first thing that I want to show you is how do we make our text pop out more? We actually add a darken and blur effect behind it in order to make this text highlighted more. So what I do is I select my base layer here. I'm going to right click and add in an adjustment layer on top of it. And then all I have to do is apply to the adjustment layer a brightness and contrast effect. Okay. And just drop the brightness like so. Drop it by like -30. And then we just have to add in a Gaussian blur. 30 as well would be pretty cool. And then we're just going to use our ellipse tool over here to mask out our adjustment layer around me being the main subject and the text over here. And then we're going to invert it. And we're going to increase the mask expansion. And we're going to increase the feather to around 150. Just like so. Now notice how all of a sudden, the only focal point that you can see is the text and myself.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video.
Now, one other thing that sometimes we do is if we don't want this to be too affecting on the background, we can just like spread this out like so. But what we do is we make sure that at the bottom here, it actually does cover, like you can see the difference is if it's under the text, you really see the text. So we'll put this somewhere like here, and then we'll just leave the rest untouched. Just like so.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a...
There we go. Notice how much higher quality that looks. With that blur and vignette, already everything is going to look way higher quality. And I'm also, again, just going to cut it right over here because we don't need that right there.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month as a video editor.
The reason, again, I'm cutting it over here is because that next section is going to be tracking, which we are going to be talking about in the next episode. Okay. So for the hook, we've got the sans font, we've got the 10K. We could also do a reveal animation like this. It's going to be really easy. You guys already know how to do this. Now, there's no point to do this because you're probably not going to do this for your clients. So I don't want to go through something that we're not going to be using, but this is what our hook animation is going to look like.
Here's how to make $2,000 per month.
And we can even top this off with a beautiful zoom out effect, which is going to make this hook animation look even higher quality. Now you can add all sorts of stuff to add even more attention to detail. You can add a shape layer that draws out around your $2,000 per month. Okay, you could add so much. There's so much complexity that we could add to this hook in order to make it more engaging, more attractive. An easy way to do this would be like a draw out animation. But this being said, we're just going to leave it as is since it works. And if it works and it looks good, then we're going to go ahead and roll with it. All right. So this being said, that's it for our hook animation. Duplicate your text, use the thicker fonts with the glow, with the write out animations for your high quality hook text. And then let's go ahead and roll with it. In the next episode, we're going to talk to you guys about what we're going to do right after our hook animation, which is going to be our tracking. And we're going to talk to you guys about how we create tracking for viral talking head shorts. Let's go ahead and dive right in.